She is a champion of women in manufacturing. She is passionate about advancing technology and inspiring the next generation. She is the one and only Megan Zimba, and she's ready to host the Creators Lounge.
The Creators Lounge is proud to welcome the ARM Institute.
Hey everyone, I'm Megan Zimba here at the Creators Lounge at IMTS 2024, and I'm super excited because I'm sitting here with Suzy Teele, and she is from the ARM Institute. How are you, Suzy?
I'm great, Megan. I'm really enjoying the atmosphere and the excitement that's here at IMTS this year, so I'm doing terrific.
I'm super excited to have a conversation with you because I met you once, I think, or maybe a couple of times, but I just want to know what your background is and how you got involved with robotics and your engineering experience or manufacturing experience. So can you start out with that?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So again, I'm the Chief Strategy Officer for the ARM Institute. I've been there a little over 7 years, was involved with the formation, and we'll talk a little bit about what that is in a minute. But I really feel like I've come full circle in my personal and professional life. I actually grew up in a small town outside of Pittsburgh that was a huge manufacturing town. It actually was the birthplace of aluminum. The first aluminum company in the United States was in my hometown. It was called New Kensington, Pennsylvania. And so it was a great environment, great middle-class jobs for everybody, and then they left. And so I saw firsthand the impact of a town that really relied on a manufacturer and what the devastation could be. And that always stayed with me. I got into tech, I went into computer science, and I went into software for a large part of my career. But when the opportunity came to work at the ARM Institute with our mission of bringing more manufacturing back to the United States and using advanced technologies to do that, I knew that it was just a perfect fit for me to kind of give back and see if we can help revive some of those towns that, have been struggling as a result of that. So I'm really delighted to be part of the ARM Institute.
So with its mission of bringing manufacturing back to the United States, how is ARM really hitting that mission? Like, what are some of the things that it provides to anybody that wants to be a part of it? How are you helping companies maybe reshore some of the stuff that they're producing? Like, what are you doing specifically?
So, great question. The ARM Institute is one of 70 national institutes that fall under Manufacturing USA, and we all share the same mission, but we focus in different areas: lightweight materials, advanced fabrics. Our focus is robotics and AI. And where we focus is specifically on what we call applied research. So what we're trying to do is bring more useful solutions of advanced technology to manufacturers of all sizes, but particularly small and mediums who really haven't adopted that much robotics. We all know the big manufacturers like the transportation companies have been using robots for a long time. But when you look at a smaller manufacturer, they can't afford to have a whole floor of robots. They need a robot that can be flexible, can be reprogrammed easily to do multiple jobs, can move around more easily, is safer because there's likely people on that line, not like the big cage robots you're used to seeing when they assemble cars. Those are all the challenges that we face working with our membership and our consortium of trying to solve those. So we do work with the big robotics suppliers like Fanuc and Yaskawa and Universal and ABB. They're all members of our consortium. But then we work with manufacturers of all sizes, research institutes, community colleges and trade schools, economic development organizations, everybody who's interested in making it easier for manufacturers to adopt technology solutions. And what we do is we call applied research. So we take these inventions coming either out of university or coming out of a lab somewhere, and we look for a practical application of that working with a manufacturer, and we take it to a prototype stage. So that's our mission. So overall, we're saying what's preventing you from using a robot, and what can we do to help advance the technology so that it's easier for you as a manufacturer to use it.
So one of the stats I think that I heard was U.S. is kind of behind other countries in adopting robotics, and I don't know, like, what conversations you've had with some of your the manufacturers that you work with, but are any of them, like, what's their hesitation if they haven't already integrated automation within their manufacturing? Have you had those types of conversations?
Oh, every single day, multiple times every day. And there are a lot of reasons. The United States is wonderful at inventing things. We're not always the best at using things that we invent, right? And other countries do pick up on that. Yes, we actually, it's almost sad how we're not using the technologies that we deliver here. There's a couple challenges. First of all, over 95% of manufacturers in the United States have 50 employees or less. Okay. And so their whole focus is on getting that work done.
Yeah.
And they don't necessarily have the people that have the skill set to understand and look at their environment and say, where could a robot improve our manufacturing process?
Gotcha.
And they don't have time to take people off the work, the show floor to actually even come to a conference like this sometimes, right? And learn more. So a lot of it is just because of size.
Okay.
And, they don't have huge margins, right? So size and cost, size of their organization and the cost to implement an automation solution are really the two drivers preventing them from moving forward.
Gotcha.
And those are the types of problems we're trying to solve.
Okay, Suzy, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we get back, we're going to get a little bit more deeper into what you guys are doing at ARM Institute. So stay tuned, because we're going to be right back.
Everybody in the 313, put your manufacturing hands up and follow me, because we're going to season 3 of Road Tripping with Steve. This is awesome. I've never been in an automotive facility like this. Hello? Hi, this is Road Tripping with Steve.
I need to leave and go let my head cool down. The Robo Drill is seriously one of my favorite machines.
Brand new program, call it whatever you want.
Steve's program.
All right.
Can you take it past 100%? Do it again.
Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Megan Zimba. We're still here with Suzy from ARM Institute. So Suzy, what is ARM Institute currently working on, and what are some of the challenges that you're trying to solve?
Well, we're definitely looking at 2 key areas, actually 4 key areas now I think of it right now. First is the workforce challenges. Okay. As we get robots into more manufacturers, they need to make sure that they have workers who can not only program them, but maintain them and make sure that they do the work that they need to do.
Yeah.
And so we started to take a look at this problem actually 7 years ago and realized that there's no standardization in the industry when it comes to job titles or job qualifications relative to using some of these new technologies like robotics or even 3D printers or whatever, right? And so I always liken it to the example of an accounting degree. When you go to school for an accounting degree, pretty much everybody gets the same exact education. And when they graduate with an undergraduate degree, the employer knows exactly what skills that person's bringing to the job, and then they go and get their certification called a CPA, and people understand what skills are involved there. That does not exist for the most part for advanced technology jobs in manufacturing. And so what we decided to do was help solve that problem. Okay. So we started a process of working with manufacturers to identify the skills and competencies that were important to them when hiring people working with robotics in their environment. And we put together those skills and competencies in a career pathway, and we launched a national resource online called roboticscareer.org. And what we did is we looked across the entire United States, and we've cataloged all the training programs from micro-credentials to PhDs that someone might take in order to work with robots in manufacturing. So anybody can use the site, they can go on, they can search and say, what programs are available in the Chicago area that I might be able to take, right, that prepares me for a career, and what can I expect if I have a career, and can I find a job? So all of those capabilities exist on that site right now, and we've got over 80,000 people have used that site on a regular basis to look for jobs, to understand what it takes to have a job like this.
Right. So, question, because there's a similar challenge with the curriculum that some people are taking to pursue something that might be an advanced technology. So the high school that I graduated from, they thought CNC machining was something with additive manufacturing. And I'm noticing that a lot of schools are struggling with their course descriptions.
Yes.
Do you offer something similar in that regard, or do you just stick with the career descriptions? And
Well, what we do is we work with these schools and we help them understand what manufacturers think are important to them. So they can see this. It's right on the site, the skills that are there. And we have worked with various schools across the United States to talk more about the curriculum. The challenge in the United States is every state sets the curriculum. And so you've got over 50 different curriculums that you want to try to have an impact on, which is a large job. But because we have 450 member consortium, we can rely on some of our members who are in certain states to try to affect that. A good example is Ohio. We've worked with Universal Robots, who's based in Ohio, as well as Yaskawa, also in Ohio, to try and impact and work with the community colleges to try and impact that, the career pathway understanding and the skills. And they've adopted our model in the state of Ohio. So 49 more states again, but
we got one down.
one down. But it is important. And I can tell you that manufacturers are lined up at the door to hire high school students.
Oh, absolutely.
As you know, there's hundreds of thousands of jobs open in manufacturing today, and they would love to work with schools to get a pre-apprenticeship program in, or introduce apprenticeship programs, and bring the students right out of high school into their apprenticeship programs. So a lot of it just takes connecting and understanding, and that's a role that we play, is that connector as best we can.
Absolutely. So are you also working with the general public in any way by educating them? Because I feel like in manufacturing there is a disconnect to what we're sharing with one another in the sector versus what we're sharing with general communities and general populations. So like we don't really have the support out there. Like one of the big misconceptions is robotics is taking everyone's jobs, which is not the case. So does ARM Institute have any initiative to educate general communities as well?
We do our best. We're a nonprofit. We have limited funds, but there are a lot of initiatives that we're all trying. The White House is even committed, right? The current administration is very focused on manufacturing, and it's created workforce hubs, of which our headquarters is in Pittsburgh. We're part of the workforce hub in Pittsburgh, so there's definitely focus areas across the country where that messaging is trying to be changed. The Manufacturing USA organization in and of itself has been doing work. They've created a program called Modern Makers, where they're sharing different information about all kinds of different jobs in manufacturing and the people that are doing them. So each of the 17 institutes is trying. We're all trying to do our part to change that, but it's a big problem. And I was on a panel yesterday, and I said, please don't talk to your grandparents or your parents about what manufacturing is, because their views are completely outdated.
That's true.
Right? Go search on the website. Come to our website. Go to, look at women in manufacturing or other places to go, because they'll have a much more current perspective on what manufacturing is about today.
Gotcha. Well, we're going to take a quick break, Suzy. When we come back, we're going to talk about some future things that you're working on, but also what are the biggest challenges for companies here to adopting and integrating automation and robotics within their processes and systems. So we'll be right back here in the Creators Lounge.
You are watching The Creators Lounge. Gain insights as our hosts talk to expert guests about key industry topics. Come see the action live on the trade show floor. Visit booth 338 600. See you at The Creators Lounge.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. And I'm still here speaking with Suzy. So, Suzy, one of the things that I'm most interested in from your perspective, because you work with a lot of manufacturers, what are some of the biggest challenges that are facing companies to why they're not integrating or adopting automation and robotics within their processes?
Great question. As I spoke earlier, one of the biggest challenges is just flexibility and ease of use of robotics themselves. Another big issue is interoperability.
Okay.
Most robotic solutions have a proprietary language, and if you've got a multi-phased manufacturing process and you might be using different robots or different machines for different parts of your process, they don't talk to each other very easily.
Right.
And so if you're trying to collect data and analyze your process and determine where you might find additional efficiencies, that's much harder to do.
Yeah.
And so that's another big challenge today is interoperability.
How is ARM Institute helping to resolve that specific challenge? Is there a place that manufacturers can go? Like you mentioned is it Rossi or Ross?
Ross, yeah.
You mentioned that. Can you explain what that is?
Sure. So what manufacturers should do is ask their suppliers to focus on interoperability. That's number one, because that needs to be customer driven. But there is an organization, there's a focus on creating an open language to use with robots, and it's called the Robot Operating System, or ROS. And there is an organization in San Antonio, Texas called SWIRI Southwest Research Institute, which has created an industrial version of ROS. They call it ROS-I. And so as we look to work with these suppliers and work with manufacturers, and we do these projects that I talked about, we try as much as possible to incorporate the use of ROS-I in our solutions so that we can help push this along. But it's a big challenge.
It is, because there's a lot of robotics out there, and there's a lot of companies and
that supply.
Yes. And small to medium-sized companies are a lot too, and
yes,
it's overwhelming sometimes. What is one of the I want to talk about the partnerships that you're creating, not just with your members, but what other organizations are you partnering with to really help get your mission out there? Because as you said, this is a lot, and I'm sure your company it's not small, but you only have so many
40 people, right?
So. And you only have so much time. So what are some of the partnerships that you are creating?
We, beyond our member consortium, which is a very valuable and important partnership, we partner with organizations like AMT that runs IMTS. We partner with SME, which runs the Student Summit here. We partner with A3, which is the Association for Advancing Automation, who's very much focused in the area of robotics specifically. We work very closely with the REC Foundation, which runs the VEX Robotics competition, which is the largest one in the world. We also work with FIRST Robotics. And so we always look for those opportunities to partner with organizations who share our mission and have opportunities like now to let people know what we're working on. And of course, we do the same for them as well.
So robotics, I think, is just a fun industry. There's a lot of things coming out. Humanoids is one of the things that are coming out. You being in the industry and working with ARM for the last 7 years, what are some of the upcoming trends or things that you're most excited about? And maybe you can provide a case study. You don't have to give specifics if you can't, but what's something that really, really is exciting for you and you're looking forward to?
Well, everything surrounds those two magic letters called AI right now, right? And so there's a tremendous amount of interest in looking at how AI can make robotics more accessible and how it can further advance the use of robotics in the environment. So we've got a very strong focus on AI-enabled robotics right now. And what that really means is how can you collect the data, which relies on interoperability to some degree, right? Collect the data, start to learn from that data, and then direct the robot to take certain actions based upon the data that you've collected from the processes itself. And so we've just received some funding to start a brand new initiative, which we call the AI Data Foundry. And the goal of the initiative is to look at the common problems that are faced in manufacturing. A lot of people are doing inspection. A lot of people are doing, painting or sealing or sanding, like a lot of those welding, right? Can we create some data sets of knowledge that our members and eventually the public can be able to use, manufacturers use, so that they don't have to start from scratch in trying to implement AI-enabled solutions in their environment. So this is a long-term, multi-year project. It's a big project, but we're really excited about it because, as I mentioned, we're always looking for ways of how to advance the use of robotics in manufacturing.
And how important is attending a show like this, like IMTS, for ARM Institute to really be successful in achieving your mission?
Well, it's critical because here you'll see the plethora of all types of solutions, right, for manufacturing technology, and that's really important for manufacturers to get a grounding. One program that I do want to put a plug in for is one that we've got funded through the Department of Commerce through the Build Back Better program. That we're hoping we can create models across the country for if we can get additional funding, and it's called the Robotics Manufacturing Hub. This is a great environment, but it could be very overwhelming to a small manufacturer, right? And so through this funding that we've got through the government, we are able to work with small and medium-sized manufacturers in southwestern Pennsylvania, because it's a regional solution right now. They could come in, we're not selling anything, they can come in and talk to us about their manufacturing process, and we can work to identify areas where they might be able to automate with robotics to improve that process. That's cool. A free service right now, and it's something that's really needed because we're looking to fill the gap between all these great solutions out here and sort of helping that small manufacturer who has potentially limited expertise on automation solutions figure out how to get started with it with no sales pressure whatsoever. We don't sell anything, right?
That's very cool, because nobody likes to be sold to, let's be honest.
Well, they want to understand, we're Switzerland, right, from a neutral party, and then we may say, we've worked with this vendor and they could probably help you do that, but we are not beholden to any one vendor. It's just based on our own personal experience, right? Of working with the vendor and with other manufacturers.
Awesome. Well, Suzy, thank you so much for joining us today here in the Creators Lounge. I know you have a busy schedule, but we really appreciate you taking the time and sharing more information about ARM Institute. So again, thank you for anyone who tuned in. This is IMTS 2024. If you need help integrating or adopting robotics in your processes or systems, please reach out to Suzy. I'm sure it will be a great connection for you, and she can help you with your challenges. Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you, Megan. Bye.